You guys ever get tired of having the same default square webcam border when you're streaming? Kind of feels like you're inside of a box and you're trapped. There's no creativity. Well, I know that I can tell you that I get bored of it. And so I'm going to show you exactly how you can go from this to this using your own custom made mask that you can apply directly into OBS. So the first thing we need to define is what resolution is my camera recording in? Is it 720p? Is it 1080p? If you're not 100% sure, figure out the name of your device, go to the manufacturer's website, and look up the specifications. You're going to need to know this information when you go to your editing software. So as you can see on my screen, I have Adobe Photoshop. Now, I get it. Some of you may not want to commit to paying monthly to use the service. And in that case, you're more than welcome to use the trial version. I will say if you decide to go with the trial version, figure out anything you want to do graphically before you commit to that 7-day trial. And on top of that, make sure that you set a calendar event or a notification to remind yourself, hey, go back in there and cancel it so you don't actually have the subscription. If that feels like too much of a hassle for you, you can go get the software called GIMP. I'll put that in the description below, and it does a majority of what Photoshop does, except for the content aware fill, because that thing is just amazing, but it will get the job done for you. So just keep those two elements in mind. Now this tutorial will be done within Photoshop, but the concept and theory still applies regardless of what photo editor that you use. So inside Photoshop, what I would like you to do is come up and click New File. We're going to skip over the recent items, and we're going to come over to our width and our height. Well, my webcam records at 1080p, so my aspect resolution is going to be 1920 by 1080. If your webcam records at 720, you're going to want to put 1280 by 720. As far as resolution, you can keep this at whatever it defaults to. Mine is set to 300 pixels per inch because I do a lot of photo editing and enlargements. RGB color can stay the same. What you do need to change is the background contents. This actually has to be set to transparent. So make sure that this is set at the very beginning before you create this template. The rest of the options you can leave as default and hit create. So now that we have our nice blank canvas here, we're actually going to go ahead and paint it black. So come over here on the left-hand part of the screen, and you're going to make sure that your foreground layer, which is on top, set to black, and your background layer, which is the bottom layer, is set to white. Now come up and click on your paint bucket tool, hover over your canvas and left click, and now you have a black canvas. So now we actually have to create our shape. So I'm going to go ahead and recreate what I currently have for my webcam border. So to do that, come back over to your toolbar, and you're going to right click on this little square icon. That way you have a drop down menu of any shape you would like to use for your particular webcam border. But because we're doing mine, I'm going to make sure that I'm using the rectangle tool. I'm going to come back down to my foreground and background layers, and this little double arrow, I want you to click on that one time. This now brings our background layer to the foreground. So now it's white on top and black on the bottom. So now we need to come back over towards the middle of our canvas, hold down left mouse button, click and drag. And you can size it up any way that you like. If it's too big right now, you can always come back and resize it later. All right, so now that we have this here on our canvas, now we can start adding that rounded shape to our corners. So we're going to come over to the right under Appearance and take note of the little chain link icon right here. You can see as I hover over it, you'll get like a nice dark background, and if I come off of it, it doesn't exist anymore. If you actually click on your chain link icon and you can see the background, this is going to tell Photoshop, hey, if I set the top left-hand corner angle of my box to 52 pixels, I want you to apply that same 52 pixels to the rest of the other corners. It keeps things symmetrical. But if I was going to undo that and say, I don't really care for that, I just want to edit one corner and then edit another corner, you can uncheck that, and you can tell, again, there's no background fill. And then you can easily manipulate each of your corners to your likings. Be whatever you like it to be. I'm going to go ahead and just undo that. And I'm going to enable the chain link to make sure that everything is symmetrical. And I'm going to come back up to one of these 4 little tabs. And all you got to do is just click down on that tab and drag either right or left to manipulate your pixels. So now, as you can see, All four corners have about 150 pixels. Looks nice, looks clean, looks symmetrical. But now, say for example, well, you're done, right? But you don't like the shape of the actual mask. You can always change the shape of your mask. So what you can do is you can do Control-T, and that'll bring up the same outline. And if you're going to increase or decrease it and you want to make sure that you're shrinking it accordingly, hold down Shift and come down to any of the four corners, and then click and drag. And then to save those changes, you can hit Enter. Or, just for purposes, if you come up here, come up to the top, you'll have a little check mark. You can click the check mark and save the changes. At that point, that's about it. So say you're happy with the shape. Now we need to actually save it and apply it to OBS. So what we'll do is we'll come over to File, come down to Export, and go to Save for Web. You want to make sure that the preset is set to JPEG High. And you want to just verify that your image size is set correctly. And once you've done that, you can go ahead and hit Save. Pick your designated location to save your photo. Name it whatever you like. And hit Save. And we're done with Photoshop. Okay, so now we need to apply this mask directly into OBS. So if you have OBS open and you have an existing camera source, what you need to do is right-click on that camera source, go to Filters, and underneath the Effects filter window, come down and click on the plus sign. And now you're going to come down to Image Mask Blend. Name it whatever you'd like. And what we're looking for is finding the path to our picture we just saved. So go to Browse, Photoshop, and pick the picture. And now, as you can tell, webcam border has changed. And now I simply exist not in a box anymore. I'm in a rounded, smaller, more confined area. Oh my God, claustrophobia. Just kidding. Not kidding. So if you wanted to increase the size of your actual webcam, OBS is smart enough to realize which layer you're wanting to adjust. So just highlight the layer or resource you want to increase or decrease. Come up to the corner, click and drag. And now I'm right next to you. Just kidding. That was really cringe. Don't ever do that again. Other than that, though, that's all you have to do. Pretty simple stuff. But that's all. Thanks for watching.